Chill Season 2.0 is now officially out, and there were some huge changes to Splatoon 3 but also to Salmon Run Next Wave. So let's go through all the major changes that affected our precious egg hunting mode in detail. If you're also interested in more in-depth guides for Salmon Run or just to prepare for Big Run happening soon, remember to check the rest of the channel. First change is that Big Run is happening in December. It will be held on the weekend of December the 10th for 2 days, so very similar to Splatfest, which I'm a bit disappointed about as a lot of players will probably miss an event that happens very rarely overall. But what you need to know about Big Run is that it's going to be a relatively normal Salmon Run mode, except at the very end of the event, players with the highest record of golden eggs collected during a single shift will be rewarded the most. So yes, there will be a leaderboard for Big Run, and to my joy it is connected to overfishing. Overfishing has already been a niche Salmon Run activity where the best of the best players are pushing the game mode to its limits on how many golden eggs they can collect, and seeing Nintendo actually create such a competition for players in the context of Big Run is really nice to see, but we'll have to see more when we get there. For now, I am planning a preparation series for Big Run on YouTube, so if you're interested in that concept, let me know in the comments. Second big thing is that they sneakily put in a brand new Grisco weapon into Salmon Run, none other than the Grisco Splatana that I'm so happy about, as I really wanted to see a weapon such as this. Since its debut is going to happen on December the 3rd, we do not know much about this weapon apart from the initial expectations that it's going to do some monstrous charge damage probably in melee, which is the weapon's specialty, possibly doing much higher DPS than even the Grisco Stringer, but we'll have to see. As I always do, I will have a full guide and showcase up about the weapon on the day of the wildcard weekend, so look forward to that. Third, we got a returning map from Splatoon 2. Marooner's Bay is back and will debut together on the 3rd of December with the Grisco Splatana. Marooner's Bay is known to be one of the more challenging but also unique maps for Salmon Run with its large expanding shorelines, but also its special elevators players have to operate with their weapons. We do not know if they made any changes to the map for now. We tried private battles, but it is still unavailable there until its debut. Hopefully it is adjusted to Salmon Run Next Wave, but if anything, the map should be infinitely more fun now with having golden egg throws available to use for all. It is also now in the rotation, so expect every 4th rotation to be on Marooner's Bay. Scenario codes have also been finally added to Salmon Run. This is a pretty huge feature for multiple reasons, but most importantly it will allow players to practice different shifts and modes and train their Salmon Run skills. From now on, you will be able to save your Salmon Run shifts and your recent job screen in the Grisco terminal, so it's very much the same as the terminal in the lobby for PvP, and you will be able to share this code with your friends or anyone, or just replay your own shifts again for practice or fun. This means you can replay the exact same shift with the same weapons, specials, and waves along with the same Salmonid boss spawns, so basically the very same Salmon Run shift you had before. The practical use of this new feature is infinitely useful, as before we didn't have a reliable way of practicing night waves, for example, but using this, players will now have the opportunity to practice glowfly waves or griller waves whenever they want to get better at them. The catch is the same as before, that this is for private battles specifically, so you will need another human player to join you in order to make use of the new feature. There has also been some hype for potential tournaments using scenario codes, and I asked a few people about that. For now, this looks really cool, but at the same time, the current Salmon Run competitive scene heavily favors the randomness introduced by different shifts, and it's uncertain if a more fixed series of Salmon Run shifts would interest player more than the current roguelike experience that Salmon Run is known for, but we shall see in the future. I can certainly see a separate category for this. For now, we can see that it does show high score for a certain scenario, but I'm not sure if it shows worldwide high score attached to the code itself, or is it the high score of the player themselves. On to balance changes, Big Shot's got a massive nerf. Salmon Roe Jelly was super kind enough to allow me to use this footage, as I was a doofus and I forgot to record these myself before I updated my game. As you can see, the massive 30% nerf to Big Shot's movement has increased the duration of their cycle from 10 to 13 seconds. It is a pretty big change for possibly one of the most annoying bosses in Salmon Run, and I imagine it's going to really help a lot of coworkers in Salmon Run, not just to avoid getting splatted by big shots, but remember, you also have 30% more time to splat them since they move slower back into the water. Another change for big shots is that compared to before, you will see the arc of their shots for around 6 to 7 seconds in the air lingering, which will help a ton to locate where they're shooting from, thus helping a lot in defeating them in time. Special changes are also pretty spectacular. First, the Killer Veil got a nice damage buff of 25% and also better handling for its aiming. I know it's pretty hard to see on footage, but my personal experience so far is that it seems way more responsive when you're targeting multiple bosses next to each other. So when you're moving around or turning the screen, you'll see the Killer Veil change targets a lot sooner instead of just snapping to the very same boss as before. Additionally, the damage buff certainly helps. While 2 lasers weren't enough to splat a Maw completely underground, you can see that it was basically just one shot to splat once it emerged, so it's definitely noticeable and helps. Ink Strike also got a massive boost of 25% damage increase, and also its application, as from now on it will immediately detonate the moment it touches Salmonid bosses, such as a flyfish. This helps to save a lot of time and prevent missiles from being shot, and just think it's more satisfying touch using this special that I already didn't like that much before. Keep in mind, in the case of steel eels or stingers, you still have to actually aim for the Salmonid itself at the very top of stingers or the fish at the end of a steel eel to trigger the Ink Strike to work. My favorite change on the other hand goes to Inkjet and Booyah Bomb. For both specials, it's been a bane that upon using them, Salmonids would still focus you, and when you get back on the ground you get splatted without any chance, having to plan using your special very well. From now on, you can see the moment you use the Booyah Bomb, Salmonids will lose aggro on you and instead go for the next player close. Though on Glowfly Rush Wave it still works and you can continue to use Booyah Bomb as an aggro and keep the rush under yourself. This change is much more noticeable and useful on the other hand on an Inkjet, where before, the moment the Inkjet stopped, you would get crushed by a horde of Salmonids waiting for you to land. From now on, during the animation of you returning to the ground, most Salmonids will completely ignore you and go for someone else, leaving you with some breathing room to recover after using the Inkjet, which I think is extremely useful and so much more fun. This also applies to Glowfly Rush Wave. If you use the Inkjet once it ends, if you were the target of the Glowflies, it will change target to another player. The last update in this patch is the boss limit they added to Salmon Run. It says the number of boss Salmonids that can appear at once have been capped at 15. When defeating boss Salmonids at a regular pace, even at high hazard levels, players will not reach this limit. The change was made because in cases where players are chased down by bosses they cannot splat, the appearance of too many bosses can slow the game down and make it more difficult than necessary to get things back under control. Overall, in my experience, this will change nothing in practice for a vast majority of us. I don't think I remember a time where 15 bosses were on a stage I was playing on, or well, if it ever happened, I'm sure it was a fail since that's a major problem on your shift that would be really hard to recover from. Either way, it is mostly there, as they said, to prevent lag, as on higher executive VP certain maps can get really laggy, and the game no longer can handle that many Salmonids on the map, and I wouldn't worry about this change much at all. But that is all about the changes in 2.0 for Salmon Run Next Wave. There are some really cool effects the changes have already triggered that I will go through in further videos in the future, but for now I think these are the most important changes that you should know about and make use of to get better shifts in Next Wave. As always, if you have any questions or feedback, leave them in the comment section, and for more Salmon Run content, make sure to like and subscribe as it helps a lot. Thank you for watching everyone, and I'll see you the next time.